everyone, welcome back to Obscurus Lupa Presents. I tried to pray to my Cynthia Rothrock montage so that a strong female protagonist could help me review this, but I accidentally got Michelle from Subspecies, so didn't work out. Please don't review me. So anyway, let's get reviewing. This is No Retreat, No Surrender 2, aka Raging Thunder, aka Karate Tiger 2, aka this has got a lot of names. It was intended as a direct sequel to the first No Retreat, No Surrender, with Van Damme and McKinney signed up to do it, but apparently Van Damme thought it wouldn't further his career, for some reason, and convinced McKinney the same, so they just didn't bother to show up on set. Yeah, they pretty much pulled a dick move and left everyone hanging. So, director Corey Ewan was forced to hastily recast, and the story was rewritten to just be about another character. So, from here on out, the rest of the sequels are in name only. What's that? You didn't know there was a No Retreat, No Surrender 3? Well then you're gonna shit your pants when you find out there's a No Retreat, No Surrender 5. But luckily for you, these movies are not on my review list at the moment. Anyway, this movie is also noteworthy for being Cynthia Rothrock's only film in American theaters. She was a huge success in Hong Kong cinemas, but in the States she stayed firmly the queen of direct-to-video. But she's not the main character here, so this is the story for Raging Thunder. Lauren Avedon is Scott Wilde, a Taekwondo expert who must rescue his kidnapped fiancé from some Russian dude. Comedy ensues. It's another Rescue the Hostage film. Oh boy. Can I just say how terrible Rescue the Hostage films are? Like, this formula is always the most boring thing ever. Just cause Rambo single-handedly defeated an entire country doesn't mean we want to see Jason Stillwell's Cast-Off doing the same. But whatever, as far as hostage rescue films go, this does have something going for it in that it actually tries to make the characters interesting. I know I'm complaining just to complain here. The film begins with a bunch of people being killed by firing squad. It's kind of in the spirit of the original. I tell ya, this is totally gonna ruin Kelly's next birthday party. So Scott has arrived in Bangkok to see his fiancée and look for his teacher. I don't know, try as he might, he can't be as cool as this Scott. But the soundtrack is sure to pump you up for this movie. Scott heads to the local gym and meets Terry, a kickboxer who doesn't care much for... Actually, I don't know what her problem is. I guess because he thinks this guy can speak English and that annoys her? She tells the owner of the gym that Scott thinks Thai kickboxing sucks, which means he's gonna pit Scott against his best fighter. Wait, does that mean Cynthia Rothrock is the replacement Ding Dong guy?
Bruce Lee freak. Just what Kingswood needs. Why me?
Scott makes short work of his challenger, meaning that he's already better than Jason. Wait, shouldn't he whine a lot and run away when there's trouble? Terry challenges him to a fight, but he says he won't spar with her until he finds his old friend Mac Jarvis, who taught him Taekwondo. The conversation is seemingly a competition to see whose dialogue is more stilted.
He couldn't tie his own shoelaces. Never mind something so complicated.
Please, just tell me where he is, and I'll be gone before you can say go.
It's hard to say. I think Lauren Avedon won this one, but Cynthia Rothrock is more consistent. On the way to his hotel room, Scott is accosted by a pimp. And oh man, I just looked up the meanings of accosted and I totally made a play on words there. Yeah!
This ain't my day.
No retreat, no surrender! All Scott wants to do now is prank call his fiancée. You know, because he only came to Bangkok for this.
Miss Wing, this is Frank Dobbles, Assistant Registrar of Oberlin College calling.
But uh-oh, that pimp is back to his no-good pimping business. Oh, that's comedy. Those pimps, I tell ya.
I thought you said Vietnamese people were poor.
Way to go, Scott. You've insulted her family and her culture. But luckily, Sue Lin gets him back by ordering all sorts of wacky things from the menu.
And these are steamed meatballs, right?
No, they're tiger's balls.
You know, I think that was the original title for this series. Karate Tiger's Balls. Don't quote me on that one.
Scott, dear, lost some monkey's brains.
Yay, what a waste of food and money in this previously established poor country. You silly kids. The two of them go back to Scott's hotel for some alone time, and things go into comical slow motion as they do it. Remember, this is all in the scuzzy pimp hotel with porn on the walls. Romantic! Meanwhile, Sue Lin's dad receives a distressing phone call.
Damn it!
This heart-wrenching scene can only be topped by the emotional words shared between our two lovers.
I love making love to you.
Me too.
Yeah, I totally love making love to myself. Aw man, this is the absolute worst time for thugs to show up, but that's just like them. They kidnap Sue Lin and Scott fights them off, eventually killing them. When he goes to the police, he ends up arrested for the murders of the thugs and Sue Lin's family, as well as Sue Lin's kidnapping.
I'll own this friggin' country when Mr. Wing gets through with you!
Yeah, you sure showed them, Scott. Now everyone in Sue Lin's family is dead except for her father. Oh, will the hilarity ever end? All we need is a new RJ and we'll be all set. This is the perfect follow-up to the feel-good comedy of 1986. The authorities plan to ship Scott to Singapore for 3 months, but Sue Lin's dad tries to convince them not to. I'm not sure why, since earlier in the movie they said he didn't even know who Scott was yet, but they decided to take him anyway. Way to go, Sue Lin, Dad! Luckily, Scott has an escape plan. Well, that was like the world's shortest escape. Scott, you know you could just go slightly to the left and... never mind. He goes looking for Mac and finds him arm wrestling some dude in a club. Look at that. Doesn't even take his cigar out of his mouth. Mac's awesome. He wins by putting a cigar in his beer and drinking it. That's some good cheese right there. I wouldn't rank it so high as cheddar, but, maybe Gouda or something. Yeah! My fiancé is kidnapped and possibly dead! Woo! Scott explains the situation to Mac, who takes him someplace where they can eat in private. Then Mac drinks some snake's blood. And yes, Max Thayer really is drinking snake's blood here. You could have faked that, dudes! Apparently it was all shot in one take, I'm assuming in the uncut version, but here it kinda sucks to be that guy because I couldn't even tell that was supposed to be snake's blood. Unfortunately, their strategy of hiding Scott by wearing a really big hat doesn't seem to work out too well, as some bounty hunters show up to take him in. You gotta hand it to Lauren Avedon, his martial arts skills are top-notch. I mean, any guy who gets into a fight looking like the freaking Wizard of Oz Scarecrow has to be good, I guess. Congratulations! You get the Best Frame of the Movie award! Apparently all of Mac's attacks are food and cigar based. I'm not sure how much he really taught Scott here. It turns out one of the goons took Sue Lin, so they get him to spill the beans as to where she is.
Cambodia. Shit!
Well, good luck with that, dude! Meanwhile, they're still waiting at Kelly's birthday party. Later on, Mac explains to Scott that Sue Lin's father is a Vietnamese refugee who was working with the Soviet militia in Cambodia. When Sue Lin dad pulled out of a deal with them, that's when all this started. Scott makes up his mind to go rescue Sue Lin and convinces Mac to help him out.
Alright, you want to start a war? You got one.
Obviously, this will take a lot of time and preparation to get right.
Alright, that should do it.
Oh yeah, guns, knives, and headband. I guess they're set for fighting a militia in a completely foreign territory.
Fuck.
They're off to a great start! You know, if this movie had any sort of realism, it'd be over in like 2 minutes. And you know how I love realism in my martial arts movies. They take a lesson from the first movie and run like hell. No retreat! No surrender! So they make it to the helicopter Mac arranged for, and it turns out that Terry is the pilot.
What are you doing here, you witch?
Right now, she looks like an angel.
If you were expecting Santa Claus, you're in for a big surprise.
Santa Claus is neither a witch nor an angel. So that reference doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
You were expecting maybe, the Addams Family?
It turns out Terry and Mac used to go out, and now they hate each other. Wait, so that's what she was so mad at Scott for? There's no way she could have known that he even knew Mac when she started that fight.
ผู้กองได้ข่าวเกี่ยวกับลูกสาวผมบ้างไหมเนี่ย
ก็ยังไม่ได้มีข่าวอะไรเข้ามาเลยนะครับ
I don't understand Vietnamese. No subtitles? Nothing? It's a primarily English-speaking movie. Alright.
Listen, you do your job and I'll do mine, okay?
See that clearing up ahead?
Yeah,
Set it down over there.
that's a Roger.
I don't understand volume control!
Well, if anything does go wrong, I'm out of here as soon as you hear those rotors humming. You got the message?
Sound fair to you?
What do you think?
Wow, that was 6 seconds before something went wrong. Way to go, team! But it turns out it's all a wacky misunderstanding with one of the guys Mac is friends with. Oh, you mean you were that group of American fighters coming in on a helicopter? My bad! The Resistance fighters agree to help them if Mac pays them, and they get to keep Terry as collateral.
You can eat shit and die, Colonel.
The Colonel's original recipe chicken. It's got the taste that separates them from all the rest.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
You can eat shit and die, Colonel.
Their trade-off is interrupted when the camp is attacked. By the way, they didn't have access to fake guns while they were filming this. All of the shooting here is real. Top this off with the 2 stars not even bothering to show up, and this shoot sounds like a blast, doesn't it? Hey now, there's still some slow-motion footage of the helicopter over there. Maybe they can make it. Well, that didn't work out. I'm not sure I get it. Are things blowing up, or...
Ah! You crazy pervert!
Okay, never mind. You and your friend have a good time.
That's the comedy I'm talking about. Remember when all those people died in the last scene?
Hey, Florence Nightingale. I could use a little attention over here, too.
I thought all snakes shed their skin. Didn't you?
So let's meet our replacement Van Damme. Let's just call him General Rusky, played by Matthias Hughes. That's this guy. Yeah, that guy. This was his first acting role, and according to interviews, apparently he didn't even know how to throw a punch when he was hired on. I know I'm gonna fudge up this name, but he trained with Huang Zhong Li, who helped him learn some moves in time for the final battle. And honestly, he's pretty good for someone who just learned how to fight. Also, he's German, so once again, the nationality of our villain is a bit dubious. Not that obvious, dummy, no! Then he throws the guy to his pit of alligators. You heard me. Pit of alligators. This guy made a pit of alligators, solely to throw victims to. That's like cartoon level silliness. All he needs is a mustache to twirl around. And some walking around shots. See, this is why Rescue the Hostage movies are great. They think they can get help from some monks they come across, but uh-oh, they're karate monks! Sorry, Doctor Who, No Retreat, No Surrender did it first. And wait, they actually have a cool fight scene? I saw no 80s training montage leading up to this. -1 point. Ha! It's 'cause he thought he was dead! More militiamen show up, and Terry is sent to get a boat going while the other 2 cover her. In the process, she ends up getting captured and thinks Scott and Mac have been exploded. In actuality, they've escaped the explosion and rescued the real monks, while also finding the Soviet stash of weapons. Meanwhile, Terry is taken to see General I Come in Peace, and she isn't going in without a fight.
Let's get it straight. I don't deal with flunkies. You're gonna have to fight me, yourself.
That's pretty badass. This whole fight scene is really cool, and it showcases how awesome Cynthia Rothrock can be when she can just do her stuff. It's easily the best fight of the movie, even surpassing the final battle. Ready for some inspirational waterfall climbing?
These back roads are a bitch.
You've got it, Lauren Avedon. Well, at least this whole time, Sue Lynn's dad has been okay. Wait, they killed him? Did him being alive until now make any difference whatsoever? I suppose maybe this was explained in his previous scenes, but I don't understand what they were saying.
Have you heard the theory about small brains and big dicks?
Look at the comical height difference between her and General McLarge Huge here. That's some balls she's got. General German brings in Su Lin and tells her that because her father is gone now, she and Terry are going to be put to death. But luckily, our heroes are here to rescue them.
I think our best move, kid, is to get the hell out of here.
You're forgetting Su Lin.
And you're forgetting... what was her name? Tara? Aw man, step on up. We're on a one-way trip to Party Town. Before we can party too hard, we see Terry and Su Lin talking together. I really like this scene because it's a real character moment. Terry tells Su Lin that she came with Scott and Mac and discovers Su Lin and Scott are engaged. When Su Lin asks where Scott is, Terry, still believing them to be dead, can't tell her that her fiancé is gone and lies about it. Not bad for the sequel to the Ghost of Bruce Lee movie, huh? So the next day they're put in a trap above the alligator pit. Yeah, instead of killing them, You know, this shouldn't be surprising to me. I already know he owns an alligator pit. But Mac and Scott have a plan. Brofist! They start shooting the shit out of these guys using jury-rigged weapons that involve guns, wires, and beer cans, as well as strategically placed explosives. That's one explosive militia. It's Deputy Scott! Da-da-da-da! Man, there is so much stuff blowing up here, you'd think Michael Bay was involved. So Max sets the girls free, and as Scott makes his way over, things go into slow motion, so you know something bad is going to happen.
Terry!
Cynthia Rothrock just got killed. That just happened. Aw man, this is even sadder than when she died as a virtual reality character. At least she went out in this like a total badass. It's unfortunate she was killed by General Snowflame. Speaking of which, he turns into a total Hulk during the battle. Soviet smash! In the final standoff, General Hulkface gets one of the best movie deaths ever. First, he's wrapped in a Soviet flag and tied to a truck by a noose. Then he's dragged by said noose into his own alligator pit. He attempts to pull the truck in with him. It takes Scott an inexplicably long time to figure out he can just jump out. The car goes into the pit, and Scott blows it up. He explodes the villain in his own alligator pit. Just let that sink in. Were you not entertained? Love you, honey. By the way, your whole family's dead. And they lived happily ever after. Here's the bad news. It's a Rescue the Hostage movie. You know what comes with the territory. But the good news is, it's still a great action flick, and there are a lot of fantastic character moments. Lauren Avedon makes a good replacement for Kurt McKinney, and Matthias Hughes is a fun, over-the-top villain. Max Thayer also seemed to be having a blast playing Mac, and his chemistry with Avedon and Rothrock carries much of the movie. This is a great showcase for Cynthia Rothrock especially. She had an awesome character and went all out for the action scenes. It may not have the same cheese as the first No Retreat, No Surrender, but it's a fun ride nonetheless. Next week, well, you're not ready for next week.
Now I shall eliminate you. Look out!
It was an accident. An experiment gone crazy.
An accident is wetting your bed.
Is that you I smell? Or crocodile shit?